What's up? What's up? It's your man, Pastor B, Mr. B, whoever you want me to be, that's who I'll be. I'm here tonight with this lesson that I believe will revolutionize your life, that will change your life for the better. I've been uh, instructed to give adequate time to teaching the wisdom of God concerning how to be completely addiction free. Everyone has a 100% chance to be addiction free if you do it God's way. Now, I know that there are different ways to arrive to be free from addiction. I know that there are, but I do know that this way is the only way that I can guarantee that there will be supernatural results. And I want every person to be able to take advantage of the results of being completely free. Well, tonight, what I'm looking at is how to explain the attitude. I'm all in. I'm all in. Tonight we're dealing with signs that you are all in. In order for you to be free from addiction, you have to be all in. You have to be totally committed. You know, Often people say they want to be free from addiction, they want to stop addiction, but their words do not agree with their actions. At some point, you must make up your mind that living in addiction is not an option. Living a free life is what you are going to have, and you're going to go after it completely. That living in addiction, at some point, you got to get to a place that living in addiction is not an option. That you cannot continue to be controlled, be shackled by, be pulled by this chain that they called it years ago, a monkey on your back, that's pulling you into addiction. At some point, you got to just say, I want to be free, and I'm going to be free. And you have to like a poker player that knows I got a winning hand. They just push all of their chips in and just say, I'm all in. If I lose everything. But if I win everything. You got to get to that place. You got to get to that place. And the Bible teaches us such. In the book of Matthew, in the book of Matthew, this is what it says. It says this. Matthew 16:24 through 26. It says this. For whosoever shall save his life shall lose it. And whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it. And it says, for what is it a profit a man if he was to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? In other words, in that statement earlier that says, if you're going to lose your life, that's how you find your life. And those who trying to save their own lives, those will end up losing it. In other words, you got to be all in. You got to be all in. I'm reminded of a man that was all in. He was a leper, and he was an outcast by society. He was an individual that other people had written off. Doesn't that seem like drugs and alcohol and gambling and sex addiction and food addiction and all kinds of addiction? It whenever you're controlled by a substance or by something and you can't stop, people will write you off. Because you do certain things that cause people to write you off. And everyone seems to be a negative, to speak negative of you. And I understand. I understand. However, just because that people are speaking negative, You can't quit. This leper, he got to a place where he knew that what his end result was going to be. He knew that if he didn't get a change in his life, that he would die from this disease. And I want you to know that, and when you're trapped in addiction, if you don't get control over that which controls you, you will die with that addiction. You will die with it. You will eat yourself into death. You will follow after cocaine and crack and heroin and popping pills and opiates and all kinds of addiction until it takes your life. Right now, America is going through some of the most treacherous addictions in the history of our nation. More people are dying from fentanyl overdose because of addiction than any other time on the planet. And in order for you to be free, in order for you to live free, you have to get to a place like the man did in the Bible. The guy with leprosy, he said, "I'm all in." He went to Jesus and he said to Jesus, "If thou canst do anything, if you can make me clean, please make me clean, if you will." And so what he was doing was he was throwing it all his chips were in the game. He knew that once he didn't tell people that he had leprosy, they had a right to stone him. He knew that if he was going to die, it was his last chance to get it right. You got to get to a place where you're just so desperate for cleanliness, desperate to be addicted, to be addiction free, desperate for results, desperate to regain control of your life, that you're all in. You're all in. And I want you to know the signs that you're all in. These are some signs, just quick signs to find out whether or not you're really committed. One, let me tell you what the first sign is. When you're tired of resetting your life. You're tired of resetting your life. You know, when you're in addiction, you make promises. And when you make promises to different individuals, to yourself, to other people, and you break the promise, you said, "I'll never do it again." And you find yourself right back into the same cycle that you came out of. You have to press the reset button. Life, you have to reset it. Sometimes addiction is taking you into prison, into other areas that is just traumatic. And you have to press the reset button. When you are all in, you're tired of resetting your life. At some point, you have to say, the reset is over. I don't want to go back to the thing that I was once in. So that's how you're all in. You're all in. The reset is over. Number two, when you stop making excuses for your addiction. You know, I talk to some individuals and they constantly tell me, I grew up without my father. My father murdered my mother. My mother murdered my father. I was abused by my mom. I was abused by my father. My uncle raped me. I was molested as a child. All of these are terrible situations. They're just terrible. There's something that grieves my heart. But I gotta tell you this: you cannot afford to hang around that fire forever. If you allow the fire from the past to trap you and keep you from going into your future, you will always be addicted to the pains of the past. So you got to get to a place where you start making and using what happened to you, what you have or do not have. stop using it as an excuse to pursue the addiction, to pursue it. I had someone tell me, it's so hard because, after you've been doing it for so long, and it's so hard because, you growing up on the wrong side of the tracks, and you always had it rough. And listen, I know that. I understand that. But you cannot focus so much on how bad you had it that you can't go after making it better. And so you can't use that as excuses. I would have been there, but I got so depressed because I heard that my cousin died. And so because I didn't want to submit to the pain of it, I just went and got some just to numb the pain just for a little while. Well, hey, did it work for you? Did the little while last long enough? Did it change anything? I know it sounds tough, but I want to be compassionately tough. You got to get past that. You cannot use that as an excuse to continue the same cycle of behavior. I heard this woman, she said her son died, and he died in a house fire. And I think I may have told you this before. And she said, I used to get high the days coming up to the fire. And then he was in the hospital for some time before he died. And then I used to get high on the day that he died. Then I would think about the funeral, and soon the date would come up for the funeral, and I'll get high. Then when the holidays show up, I would think about that he's not here for Thanksgiving, and I'll get high. Then the Christmas would show up, and before I would think about that. Then I would use the situation to get high. And then she said, New Year's, I would think about he's not here to celebrate the New Year, and I would get high. And then his birthday would come, and then I would think about him, and then I would get high. And then she said Mother's Day would come, and then after a while I thought about he ain't here I wasn't a good mother and I didn't protect him. Then I would get high. And she said before I knew it, the whole year was going through, and I still kept getting high. And she said to me, this is the most powerful thing she could have said. She said, instead of me using the things that happen as a reason to get high, I started switching it and changing it as a reason to stay sober. That the day the house caught on fire, she said, I want to be sober in memory of the fire that took place. And so on and so on and so on. And she turned her excuses into reasons to stay sober. You have to get to a place when you stop making excuses for your bad behavior. Number three, when you stop making reservations for your addiction. What do you mean by reservations? You know what a reservation is. You let's say you make a dinner reservation. What you call a reservation is you call a restaurant in advance, maybe a week, 2 weeks, or maybe a few hours, whatever. And you watch this. You say, can you reserve a table for me? Because I'm going to show up on this day at this time, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's what making reservations are. You might not be ready now, but you begin to make reservations to get high. Or reservations to overeat. Reservations to participate in the addiction. You don't get rid of everything. It was like this. I had a guy that told me this. He said, I was sick and tired of getting high. And I just grabbed my crack pipe. And he said, and I opened up the door and I threw it out the door. But he said, before I closed the door, I would look and see where it landed. He said, because I knew I wanted to go out and find it a little while later. And the little while later did come, and he went right back out the house and found that crack pipe and got high again. You cannot continue making reservations for your misbehavior. You're not all in. When you're all in, you destroy your crack pipes. When you're all in, you get all of your alcohol out of the house. When you're all in, you throw away all of your books or the numbers in your phone, and you block them, and then you delete them. When you're all in, you're all in. You must be all in. Number four, when you're all in, you are not ashamed of your past anymore. You ain't got time to be covering up what you did. You ain't got time to be trying to save your face when your behind is hanging out. And you just say, I can't save my face and my behind at the same time. You're all in. You're all in. You're all in. You're all in. When you're not ashamed of it anymore. In other words, you wore addiction as a scarlet letter to be ashamed of everything you've done. Do you know that the very thing you're ashamed of could be the very answer that could bring your life to great victory? At some point, you got to value yourself for who you are and where you are, and admit that this is what has had me, but it doesn't have me anymore. So you get to a place where you are not ashamed of your past. Number five, when you're willing to give as much time and effort to canceling your addiction as you gave to continuing your addiction. Because when you're addicted, you give complete effort to it. You don't make excuses. You be like this, shucks, I'll find a way. If I don't have enough money, I'll find a way to get some money. Matter of fact, this you say to yourself, I'll break laws to get the money to accommodate this addiction. However, when you are all in to getting clean and to living in an addiction-free life, you say to yourself, I'm going to put as much effort into staying clean as I did to continuing my addiction. So you don't make excuses. You don't say how do I get to a meeting? How do I listen? You get out and go to walking if you have to. You did when you were addicted. You got out and got to walking in the rain with no shoes on. You walked after it. You did what you had to do. When you were addicted to porn, you used to stay up late. Get up early in the morning to go to work, but you still would stay up late. You would pretend like you were asleep until your wife went to sleep or your husband went to sleep. And then you got on that computer and text your favorite lover and made arrangements to meet with them. You would go out of town and use all kinds of get money together and tell lies and do everything to support the bad behavior, the addiction, if you will. But now we don't want to do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. You have to go after it with the same type of intensity that you did when you were addicted. Listen, next one. Your memory becomes short when you're all in. When you're all in, what does it mean? It means this. You say, listen, I might have messed up. Man, I'm tired. I'm tired of messing up. Okay, I got to get up and I got to go. You get to a place. That's where you get to. You get to the place where you start saying to yourself, you are completely all in. And when you're all in, your desires to be free and to live free will be your focus, not how bad it is and how much you've made a mistake. I read this in a book, and well, I was listening to the book. And well, I didn't read it, I was listening to it. And the book was great. It said this in the book. It's probably one of the best books I recommend. I recommend it. It's called uh, Sane, Staying Sane in an Insane World by Greg Hardin. I'm telling you, it's a marvelous book. One of the points that he made in this particular book is he said one of the chapters was called uh, uh, "You Have to Have a Short Memory," and he said uh, with baseball players and uh, football players, the pitchers especially, and the quarterbacks especially, they had to have a short memory because sometimes they would throw a bad pitch or a bad pass, and they would be intercepted, or the person would hit the ball and knock it out of the park. But shortly right after that, they would have to do it again. And the ability to do it again was only where you would only be with someone that had a short memory. So he said, I know no one wants to make a mistake, but give yourself a very short time to be hurt, mad, upset about your mistake. And he said it should be less than a second, a split second. You should be able to say, I missed it, and then go on. And even your victories, you should only give a split second to rejoice, because you gotta go on. So you're like this, wonderful, woo, great play, great pitch, but then you gotta go it on. You gotta have a short memory, especially when you're dealing with addiction, especially when you're dealing with habits that you are not proud of. Sometimes you slip. Sometimes you end up making mistakes. You sometimes you blow it, but that don't mean give up. What it does mean is, man, I messed up, but I'm gonna get right back up. I'm gonna get again on the path to success because I am all in. And then finally, you have to be committed to improvement and then to maintenance. Committed to improvement to maintenance. So what does this mean? Commitment is when you say I'm all in, you got to make a decision. I'm all in. You're committed to it. You're giving yourself to this. I'm all in. I'm all in. And a lot of people don't like to make commitment. But I want you to know that if you're going to ever have victory in anything, especially addiction, you can't be half committed. You got to be all in. When you have committed, it's like saying, I'm a little bit pregnant. Either you're pregnant or you're not. Either you're all in or you're not. You just got to say, I'm all in. Then when you become committed, then you have to have improvement. You have to be committed to improve. You have to locate the deficiencies in your own life. Locate the areas in your life that you need to work on. Put them in the order of priority, and then address them one by one for improvement. For improvement. See, every person that ever became great at anything, they had to improve. They had to improve. They had to, the past that they used to couldn't make, they had to improve to a place that they could make it. The thing that they could not do on a consistent basis, they had to do it and improve so that they can do it. You have to improve. So what does it take to improve? You have to have more knowledge than you have right now. So the first thing is you got to get committed to getting knowledge about the thing that you want to improve in. Then after you have knowledge, you have to have action. Practice, 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 practice. No, the video is not glitching. Practice, practice, practice. You have to begin to practice to improve. Anything that you're willing to practice, it has within it hidden improvement. If you practice lying, you will become a better liar. But if you practice telling the truth, you'll become a better truth teller. So you have to practice, practice, and practice. And then satisfy yourself. You have to become your own best friend. And practice becoming your own best friend. And at the point that you get to where you can be your own best friend and you practice and you become improved and improvement takes place, finally, I want you to understand what happens. Then you have to maintain it. The chains will be broken through your level of maintaining the improvement. That's where you ask God, help me to maintain the improvement. Help me not to do what I don't want to do and to continue to do what I have to do. You have to improve. Yes, I want you to know you have to be all in. Only you can answer the question, are you all in? Only you. I can see all of the signs you can of what it looks like to be all in, but only you know whether or not you're all in to being free from addiction. I hope this has helped you. I hope that it has benefited you, and I hope that your life will be totally successful and accomplished and blessed because you're all in. God bless you.